So what is support and resistance? Let me explain. So support is an area on your chart where buying pressure could step in and push the price higher. So let me explain how this would look like. So let's say the price comes down lower, then it goes up higher, comes down lower, goes up higher, comes down lower, and then bounces up higher again. So at this point, we can say that this is an area of support. This is an area of support, right? Because there's a possibility if it comes back down for a fourth time, buying pressure could come in and push the price up higher. So this is what we mean by an area on your chart where buying pressure could step in and push the price higher. Now, why does this happen? And the reason is very simple: self-fulfilling prophecy. Because if enough traders notice this phenomenon, right, they would expect the price to hold and continue higher. So for example, let's say stock ABC, right, it comes to the $10 support, bounce up to $20, come back to $10, bounce up to $30, come back to $20, come back to $10, bounce up to $20. So if enough traders pay attention to this, they'll think, this area, this $10, right, seems to be an interesting place to buy, because over the last 3 times, right, stock ABC has bounced off from $10, right, and hit higher from there. So if enough traders pay attention to the area on the chart, this becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and support becomes an area where buying pressure could step in and push the price up higher. So that's kind of like the theory behind it. So on the opposite end of things, right, we have resistance. This is an area on your chart where selling pressure could come in and push the price lower. So this looks like this, right? Price goes up higher, face selling pressure comes down lower. Try to break out above the highs, face selling pressure comes down lower. Retest a third time, face selling pressure come down lower. So at this point, we can say that this is an area of resistance on the chart. This is an area of resistance because the price has faced difficulty, right, trying to break out higher. So if it comes back up for a fourth time, this area of resistance could hold, selling pressure could step in and push the price lower. Make sense? So one last concept to share with you is this, is that when support is broken, it could become resistance and vice versa. So in other words, right, if resistance is broken, it could become support. So let me kind of illustrate this particular concept and then we move on to the charts. So let's talk about support. Let's say price comes down lower, then reverse, comes down lower, reverse up higher, and it comes down. Let's say at this point, right, you can draw this area of support, okay? Then say the third time, right, it didn't hold, it actually break below support. So you can see over here, this is previous support, previous area of support, and now when the price comes back up into this previous area of support, this could be now become resistance. This is where we can expect selling pressure to come in, right, and push the price down lower. And you might be wondering, hey Rainer, why is this so? So let me explain to you again the theory behind this. So the theory behind this is that at this point, right, when the price retests support for a third time, there are traders who think the price will reverse and bounce up higher from there. So they buy. Then what happens is that the price kind of didn't work out the way they expect. The price instead, went against them. The market went against them and they feel pain, right, as the price hits lower. Imagine you buy stock ABC at $10 and the price drops to $9. It drops until you feel very painful, right? Couldn't sleep, right? Couldn't eat, starting to lose weight. Then you see a glimmer of hope, right? From $10 down to, let's say, $2, and then you start to reverse up higher. $2 climb up to $3, $4, $5, $6, and back to your entry point at $10 over here. Over here, right, you finally, right, have gotten out, or rather, your trade has gotten back to break even. So previously, you were losing in the red very badly, and then hope came back in, right, and the market went back to the original price which you bought. So at this point in time, you tell yourself, man, that's enough. Let me get out of this trade. Let me, get rid of the pain. So you sell. You exit that long position. So when you exit that long position, you're selling that trade off. You're selling stock ABC, right, back at the same price. So when you sell, this creates selling pressure in the market. And this is why we have the theory where when support is broken, it becomes resistance. And of course, that's not the only reason why the price should reverse at the area. There could also be other traders looking at this and thinking this could be another self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Because the textbook, the courses say, if support is broken, it could become resistance, and then they start to sell at the area. If enough selling pressure is out there, right, this previous support, right, could become resistance. And that's kind of like the two, or rather the few theories behind it to why this happens. Okay, so let's have a look at the charts, right, to see support and resistance in action. So, as you can see, right, we have a number of support and resistance here drawn on the charts already. But don't worry, right, I'll explain to you later on how I draw these areas or levels, alright? But for now, just focus on the concepts that I'm trying to share with you. So first one here, this is an area of resistance, right? Price tested once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. This is an area of support. Okay, price tested once, twice, came down. We'll consider this a third test, and then it hit up higher. So pay attention to here. Notice how over here the price came down lower and break right below this area of support. So previous support, support now becomes what? When price breaks below support, it now could become resistance. And we actually see this phenomenon over here. Price hit up higher, got rejected, previous support which became resistance. Then it heads down lower, retest this area of resistance, heads down lower, retest this area of resistance, and then heads down lower and then break right below this swing low. Consider this a swing low. Then you can see that again, right, the same concept, right? This swing low now becomes resistance over here, heads down lower, retest as resistance, then heads down lower, then pulls back and then heads down lower. And right now the price, you can see, right, retest that same area of resistance here and here as well. So right now price is kind of like, you know, just in the middle of nowhere. So you can see this support and resistance, how these concepts, right, come together. So another chart, pound Aussie. This one is quite straightforward. This is an area of resistance, right? Tested once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. This tested this area of support over here, here, and here. So after which you can see resistance, support. Another example, platinum. So if you look at this one here, you can see this is an area of support. And if you look back a little bit, right, you realize that previously this support is an area of resistance. So price breaks out of resistance, now becomes support. Okay, so you can see the same thing over here. Area of resistance, price breaks out of this area of resistance, come back, retest as support, and it heads up higher. This is the previous area of resistance, price heads up higher, comes back and retest previous resistance, which become support. Okay, so when it tests, right, when it tests these lows enough time, it now become, right, this new area of support. All right, so hopefully this makes sense, and let me share with you one more example before we move on. So over here, dollar against the South African rand, area of resistance tested once, twice, 3 times. Area of support over here, tested once, twice, 3 times. Then again, pay attention when the price breaks below support over here. Price breaks below support, this area of support, previous support becomes resistance. Then price heads down lower, right? Then comes back here, retest resistance at this highs, heads down lower, retest this area as resistance. Then, you know, kind of like head down lower, break below this area of support. Previous support now becomes what? Resistance. Then over here, previous support becomes resistance. Then price heads down lower. So you can see this is pretty much, you know, how support and resistance will look like on your chart. You definitely need practice, so go ahead and watch how the price reacts at these areas in your chart.